and welcome to the Flow podcast, where stories bleed truth and change flows through conversations. I am your host, Geneva Zulu, and today's episode is powered by purpose, dignity, and vision for menstrual health beyond products. Today, we are joined by one of Zambia's leading voices in menstrual health advocacy, Copper Rose Zambia, an organization that continues to challenge period stigma and build sustainable access for girls and women across the country. Our theme today is Beyond the Pad, reimagining menstrual health and dignity for every girl. Let's get into it. Hello once again and welcome. So we are joined by Shalom Mwape from Copper Rose Zambia, one of Zambia's leading voices in menstrual health advocacy. Thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. This is the Flow podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So just for people who are just joining us, I know I have already said what your name is, but that's all we know.
Okay.
Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your role and position at Copper Rose, and who is Shalom?
All right. That's when you say who is Shalom, it's like a very big question. But like you mentioned, my name is Shalom Mwape. A program officer at Copper Rose Zambia. A social worker by profession, with a bachelor and master of social work. Passionate about young people's work. Passionate about children's rights, adolescents and young people. And I've done a lot of work around that. Aside from work, I'm an interesting person. I enjoy reading, listening to music, cooking and interacting with people.
Nice. Nice. It seems like she's interesting indeed and very educated and loves to help people. That's why we brought her here. We bring all the interesting people, am I right? So again, I keep saying thank you because we're so grateful and we always appreciate people who are driving change, leaders who are advocating for meaningful things in this world. Like for instance, in this situation, which is menstrual health. So to start off, for someone who doesn't know much about Copper Rose Zambia, what is your mission and where did it all begin? The story behind the story.
So Copper Rose Zambia is a youth-led and youth-focused organization that was started in 2015 by two visionary young women, Dr. Natasha Salifyanji Kauma and Faith Kauma Kabeleka, when they were still university students. So they identified a problem in the community, and which was an issue to do with menstrual hygiene. How young people didn't have information, about menstrual health. And so they decided to make a change and to do something about it. And so through a door-to-door campaign, they managed to raise the first $300 US that they were able to support young people with menstrual products and also just to equip them with information. And that's how Copper Rose Zambia was birthed. So we're actually celebrating our 10th year anniversary this year. That's how Copper Rose Zambia really in a nutshell began. And so as an organization, really our mission is to create a conducive environment where young people thrive in all aspects of their lives. We envision a world where, a young person is happy, healthy, and living to their full potential. So
amazing.
In a nutshell, that is Copper Rose Zambia.
That's a huge nutshell, actually. So let's talk about periods. As you know, we all know that periods are not just a girl's issue. Why is menstrual health a human rights and public health issue?
Well, so I'd say menstrual health is a human right and public health issue because to start with, menstrual health is part of health. And so already we know health is a human right.
Of course.
So when you talk about menstrual health, it's touching really on quite a lot of things about an individual, their health, their education, how are they able to contribute in society. So it's really borders around an individual in a holistic way, like, so it's a human rights issue because there are a lot of issues where people don't have access to menstrual health and hygiene products and even facilities, that allow you to enjoy your periods. It's not a sin. It's not a taboo for you to be on your periods. And so you want to, as a young girl, as a woman, you want to enjoy your periods, but then you find that we have all these challenges and also people not having full information. And so it becomes also a public health issue, because poor menstrual hygiene also leads to other health issues. So it becomes a concern that needs to be addressed. People need to talk about it. We need to raise awareness on menstrual hygiene and health. Yeah.
I like that the part where you said you want to enjoy your period fully.
Yes,
I mean, there'll be a number of people obviously watching this episode and they're like, enjoy what? Because I remember one of my, because I have been in this menstrual health advocacy journey. So I remember I was working for an organization and we were doing a donation, I think in Chikankata. And we invited some other organizations, and another organization, a woman was giving a talk, and she was like, "Oh, you must embrace your periods. Periods are beautiful." And then I was standing with a girl. She's like, I went, no, just cramps. And I was like, oh my God. And I feel like because of that, maybe even girls that are not menstruating might even be scared to say, no, periods are not nice. But it's lovely that for most women to talk about periods as a beautiful thing, because first of all, it means that you're able to bring life into this world. So everyone should care about it. So that's amazing. And we know stigma and silence and shame still shape the way we talk about periods. What are some of the myths or barriers you've encountered, especially in your line of work as you, Shalom, and Copper Rose, especially in schools and rural communities?
Well, there's so much. Really, even just aside from work, like even at an individual level, there are certain things that you hear people say about periods, and you're like, no,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Yes.
So there's quite a lot of stigma around menstruation, because that with it's considered as something that should not be openly discussed, like we are discussing right now. When a young girl has their menarche, which is their first period, it's supposed to be like so secretive.
See, I didn't even know they call it that.
Yes, so it's menarche, that's like the first period, and then people are secretive about it. There's some others do like all these rituals and everything. So there's so much to it. But some of the taboos we've heard is, no, a girl is not supposed to put salt in food when it's such a message, which is not true. Really, when you hear the thoughts behind it, was just an issue of hygiene. Because a long time ago, nowadays we have all these, like, you just put the salt with a teaspoon or something, but usually in the olden days you just get the salt with your hand. So I think it was just an issue of hygiene. And so I said, no, you can't put salt in food, everyone else will have a cough or something. Then there's well, there are different there are quite a lot of myths, also in terms of just how someone also handles their menstrual products and everything, because they're different products. So there's that thing where you need to dispose of them correctly. If someone is using a reusable pad, they're supposed to hang it in the sunlight. But then there are all these, you don't need to hang it. People might steal your blood and use it for other things. So there's quite a lot of myths, misconceptions around menstruation. Yeah,
I've heard the one with the salt, and I think one of like my aunties they were talking, and as a kid you just overhear it, and at the time I wasn't menstruating. So when I heard it, and from that day, listen, I have been traumatized. Even in my big age, if I get my period and I'm cooking, I look at the salt, I'm just like, I'm not supposed to touch it. Exactly. So because if you touch it, my period won't finish, or it will take long, or something will happen.
You're not supposed to go. So there's one way also not supposed to like cook your first period. So, but really, when you go deep down to think about those, it's really just the issue of hygiene. Especially, I think they were thought like, okay, so one has just started, so you don't know how they're maybe not don't know how to take care of themselves yet. So, but really scientifically,
Yes,
I don't think it's
because if you ask your
yeah.
auntie, say, where did this come from? They also don't
It's been
know.
passed on from generation to
Exactly.
generation.
So
So
that's
yeah.
what we need to break. So your work spans education, product innovation, and policy. Can you share how Copper Rose is increasing access to safe and dignified menstrual products?
So, as an organization, one of the things that we do, like I mentioned earlier, is awareness on menstrual hygiene and health, just to ensure that young people, I think at the core of it all, information is very important. You may have access to disposable pads, but if you don't have information on how do I correctly use them, how do I dispose of them,
Yeah.
it's really pointless. So for us, we do place an emphasis on making sure we share that information with young people to understand their body, understand this period, like, okay, you're now menstruating, this is what happens to your body, this is how this comes about.
Of course.
This is how you manage your periods and ensure that you're healthy. So we do share that information, but also we've done a lot of work around uh, reusable pads. So we train young women and girls how to make reusable pads, but also provide capacity building to other organizations on how they can cascade that to be able to train other young people to make reusable pads. So because others are not able to afford the disposable pads, so we're able to just build that capacity. We've also done some donations to vulnerable girls and young women, just for them to be able to have access to sanitary pads, and also working with other partners to raise a voice on how can we make pads more accessible. Right now, there's been a cry around, can we make them tax free? How can we ensure that like the even disposable pads and every other menstrual product is affordable and cheap? So we also participate in those kind of meetings with partners, and how can we raise the voice together.
Amazing. So, yeah. Looks like you are busy. So next question is, what role do boys and men play in this conversation that we're having today? Attention, all men and boys. If at all you're watching this, what role do they play in this conversation, and how do you involve them in this program?
Okay, it's interesting you mentioned. I know, like, I think at the point when we're talking about the taboos, the boys are not supposed to know menses. Boys are not even supposed to mention menses and everything. But really, we need everyone to have the information, because then how do you support the next person?
Of course.
So for us, in the sessions that we've held in schools, with the young people, we do include the young boys as well. So there are some sessions where we've had strictly girls, but there are some where we've had even the boys, just so that they can just learn to understand that, look, menstruation is normal. This is what happens. You need to respect girls. You don't need to stigmatize, because we've had some girls drop out of school because maybe they mess themselves up, and the boy laughed at them like, oh no, this one, and they just feel shame and they don't want to go back to school. So we're trying to break all that, so we include them in the conversation. I think one of the things that happened just the 2023, we had the first menstrual walk.
I was there for that one, actually.
Yes. Yeah, where the cause, you have the men,
beautiful,
really, and I'm sure the other people
menstrual
like,
for menstrual.
yes, like menstrual for menstruation, and then like it's men really raising that voice, like, look, there's nothing to be ashamed about. So that is how we're also just raising, through social media, speaking about it, just breaking those barriers, understanding that, look, this is a conversation for everyone. Yeah.
That's amazing, because some of these boys, when you go to visit the schools, it's like, no, everybody should be involved.
Exactly.
Amazing. So one thing that we at Flow admire is how you center youth voices, because we are also a youth-led initiative. Can you tell us about a project or a young change maker that really moved you?
Okay, so with a project. I guess I'll call it a program. I'll start with the menstrual because I've already made mention to it. You know, menstrual for menstruation, and I think for us that was something very interesting, but also just showing how we can raise voices because we had men work for the cause, and you know, it was not just close to like Copper Rose staff, like Copper Rose men. No, we had men from other partners, other institutions participate in that work. For us, that is something that even others should, you know, emulate. Like this conversation needs to include the men, needs to we need to break the silence, the barriers, because we have situations where someone has their first period and there's no female. The one who's there is a man, and you know, like there's just that feel like, oh, they said a man should not know. But you don't have, imagine a situation you don't even have resources to actually get funded, and the person that could actually assist you is a man. You know, and then I think it's just important. I just off the top remembered a situation I encountered. I was in ShopRite, and you know, I'm getting menstrual products, and this man walks up to me and says, "Can you add 2 of those in your basket? I'll pay for everything that's in your basket."
Wow.
So you can imagine he was shy or afraid, like how people look at me buying. He was buying for his partner, and well, I benefited. He paid for everything in my basket. I added the things that I didn't plan on getting. So, but yeah, but for me, I think that's one initiative really that has stood out for us, having men at the center of those. But also with some of the programs that we've done, like I mentioned, where we've engaged young people in pad making. We've had stories of change where the young people that we've trained are able to use that skill to actually make the reusable pads and sell them and earn an income. So it's sort of like now empower them. Yeah, they have this knowledge how to take care of themselves, but also you empower them, and in a way they become a change maker in their own community. Nice. So that has been something very
I'm rooting
amazing.
for Copper Rose already. You should too. So we believe everyone has a role to play in advancing menstrual justice. What would you say to young people who want to make a difference but don't know where to start?
Well, the first thing I would say is get the information. I think for you to be able to make the difference, the change that you'd want is get the information, have an understanding, first of all, about, you know, menstrual health and hygiene, understand what it is, understand some of the terminologies, what does it encompass, because it's not just you having the pads, it's about do you have access to water, to soap, and all those. When you have this information, you'll be able to voice out, you know, and be able to even advocate. You when you identify an issue where you see, for example, a school that doesn't have all the wash facilities that could promote, you know, someone enjoying their periods, you'll be able to advocate because you have the information. So to start with, have the information. And also, don't be afraid to speak out. Sometimes it could just be you using your social media platform, your gadget on your WhatsApp status, sharing some information. We've had people just from you posting a status about something like, oh, I didn't know about this. So a change starts from you just taking that step. You know, it doesn't always have to be so big. Sometimes it's just you sharing the information and having the passion for that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So you hear, guys, share, 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 share. And for those listening, how can they support your work at Copper Rose Zambia, and where can they find you?
Well, so Copper Rose Zambia, our head office is in Kablonga, house number 33, just near St. Mary's Secondary School. And then, of course, you can follow us on our socials, Copper Rose Zambia on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Subscribe to our newsletter. We have a weekly newsletter on LinkedIn. Be able to follow the work that we are doing as an institution. And through our socials, we're actually on TikTok as well.
Oh,
we are youth. Where the young people are, we are there. So follow us on the socials for you to just be in touch. Also, our website, copperrose.africa. You're able to also interact with our chatbot there in case you have any questions or looking out for any information about the organization. You're able to catch us on some of those platforms. Yeah.
Amazing. So any last words as we conclude?
Well, my last word is, I know you were saying, oh, periods, there's all this about periods.
Yeah.
They're there. We have to embrace them. Others experience painful periods, but I think in all of it is just understanding how do you navigate it, and embracing the journey. But overall, also that talking about menstruation is not a taboo. It's a health issue. It's a human rights issue. It's there, and everyone needs to be free, comfortable to talk about it. And let's support the young women and girls, the women, and also just ensure we break all those myths and barriers.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you
Thank you for having
much.
me.
Again, this has been my lovely guest, Shalom from Copper Rose Zambia. Now, there you have it, folks. Menstrual health is not just about pads. It's about power. It's about possibility. It's about policy. And thank you again so much. And to you, our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, if you loved this episode, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe, everything, and share. If you want to be a change maker, if you want to spread the word, if you're passionate, if you're an advocate for menstrual health, share. Tell somebody about it. Tell your friends' friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell your people at church. And don't forget to follow Flow Podcast on all our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, because we like to dance on the TikTok. And also, remember, keep breaking barriers, keep rising, and keep flowing. I have been your host, Geneva Zulu, here at Flow Podcast. Goodbye and see you in the next one.